Man, is she primed and ready to go here for the NCAA tournament. Kate Delaney is on the line with us this morning. She picked up the phone so quick and was so ready to go. I had to calm her down. Kate, are you okay?
Hey, The Voice, how are you?
We here at The Voice are just happy to have you. We're happy to have you with us here, Kate. Our conversation brought to you by Marcus and Mack, a law firm representing injured people. She is the sports princess. Do you get a crown with that, or a scepter or anything, or a conversation with Oprah?
I didn't get a conversation with Oprah, but I did get a crown when I was first dubbed the sports princess back in California. Listeners did present me with a crown. It's quite nice.
Beautiful. She is the author of Invade the Man Cave, Sports Secrets Guys Don't Share. Kate, we're getting set for this tournament. We're all excited about the tournament. Are we as excited now as a nation as normally we are for bracketology?
That's such a great question. I think those of us who always did brackets and like the bracket challenge are still in that same mindset. People who just got involved in the office pool because everybody begged them and said, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, and the guy around the corner are in it. You need to give me your $5, your $10, your $15. Then you would just get that pot swelling. But now, because you're not primarily in the office, some of your listeners probably are, but a lot aren't. I think some of that excitement has died because how are you doing that over Zoom? You still can, but it's much more difficult because you're not running around the cube farm.
Yeah, and it's a little bit different in those terms, but on the other hand, if you're working from home, are you really working today?
Well, you know what they call it? Double screening. So you just have your iPad on the side, and you go trash talking. You're going back and forth with your bracket, and then you got your other screen up doing your work.
Yeah, well, this thing came up today that said that 11% of people call in sick during March Madness. Can you still do that if you're working from home?
I don't know. How do you do that? Well, do they say, can't you just stumble to the computer and do some work, for goodness sake? I guess you can, because you get a certain amount of days if you work for a traditional company, and you could use one of those days, I suppose.
Yeah. So how does it work? How are people doing their brackets? Is it Zoom? Is it email? How are they putting them together?
Zoom. I think a lot of people are doing Zoom, and they're just sending out the brackets. So they say, fill out the bracket, get the bracket to me, email it back. And then with Zoom, they're having some, especially if it's a big pool, they're getting creative and doing happy hours and that kind of thing, and trash texting each other. That's what I heard is going to be super popular. I'm already getting a lot of trashy texts, but I always do, so maybe it doesn't matter.
They're ragging on you, Kate.
They're ragging on me already. I don't know. What did I do?
I mean, we haven't even tipped off the first game yet.
Yeah.
These brackets, they look so weird without names like Kentucky and Duke in them. And I don't even know if Louisville's in or not. Louisville was one of those teams that was told to stand by, and so they're not going to make it?
Nope, they're not in it.
Man, it just looks so different with some of these names that are out there. So how do people go about shuffling down and whittling down to find out the team that they think is best going to do it? They're going to go with big names like Gonzaga or even this year Illinois?
Yeah, and you hit on two of them that are good ones. Gonzaga, Illinois, Alabama's really good. I like Alabama. A lot of people like Baylor. I'm not so sure about that pick. My pick to win the whole thing is Gonzaga. I mean, the Bulldogs are so good coming out of the West, and it's weak for them in the West, really, because they've beaten Iowa, Kansas, and Virginia. So I think they have a clear road getting into the Final Four, and I actually think they win the whole thing. I mean, they're the highest scoring team. They're fast. They're loaded on both sides. And if they do win the whole thing, they'd be the first team to do that since the Bobby Knight Hoosier team did it in the mid-'70s, and that would be pretty wild. But they could trip up. I mean, there are teams that are good and that could knock them off. But I think Gonzaga wins the whole thing. I do.
Yeah, BYU could actually get them. I mean, that was tough when they played them anyway.
Yeah. So who knows? Like I said, there could be some trip up along the way, but I still think coming out of the West, they have the clearest path. And if you're looking for value when you're filling out these brackets, the best time you always get that, and all of us pretty much know this, is in the first or second rounds, and that still holds up. You want like a 12 over a 5 because almost 40% of the time, it's not quite 40, but almost 40% of the time, the whole time March Madness has been going on, that's where you see some more of those upsets. Like I think you see Santa Barbara beats Creighton. I think that they are hot coming into the tournament, and when the team is hot, they continue that momentum. And so I think they get them. I think Winthrop has a chance to beat the number 5 Villanova coming out of the South, and I'm a Nova fan. And listen, I grew up just outside of Philly, and I'd love for Nova to have the kind of run they had a few years ago. But they are really kind of just limping their way for Nova into the tournament, and I think Winthrop could knock them out in the first round.
Yeah, but they got a heck of a coach. Nova's coach is really, really good.
Yes.
Those 12-5 matchups, it's puzzling how often that works out that way, that 12 beats 5, and it's one of the weird things about this. But coaching, we mentioned Nova, and then you've got guys like Izzo, and those traditionally strong tournament coaches. They make a difference, and here's the Big Ten. They've got a bunch of those guys, and Big Ten teams have been beaten up on each other all year long, but that's a really strong conference sending some good teams into this tournament.
Oh, absolutely. You know, you mentioned Illinois, and I like their coach, Brad Underwood, and they are another hot team going into this. They finished winning like 14 of their last 15, something like that, including the Big Ten tournament. And they have one of my favorite big dudes, period, because I've watched the Fight in Illini a bunch. Kofi Cockburn is great to watch. He's so fun. And you know, there's a few other teams out there too, like Juwan Howard in Michigan. He played for Michigan. It was fun to watch him back in the day, and he's got a really good team. He's got problems with one of his best players being out, but Michigan, I don't think you can count Michigan out.
Yeah, one of the interesting sidelights of this whole thing is a guy could be there in the first half and then get some sort of a notification at halftime, and he doesn't come back out of the locker room because of COVID protocols. It's just hard to say that a whole team just might get wiped out just like that, and so that makes your bracket even harder to fill out. She's Kate Delaney with us here this morning. So, Kate, tell me about the preparations that you go through for this day. This has to be something big for you, huh? You gotta caffeine up and do all those things.
It is. It's what, like, you know, I've got 6 different brackets going, but doing brackets when I think I was, I might have been 17, got me really even more interested in sports. And so I really have an affinity for college hoops. Now, I don't really watch it end to end from the very beginning of the season, but as it gets closer to March Madness, January, February, I'm all in. So here's my philosophy, though. There is that paralysis by overanalysis, and sometimes I get that because I've got so many notes, and I've taken them along the way, and I have favorites. And in the end, there still can be those weird things that happen. Like you mentioned with COVID, that's the curveball, because what if a player or two test positive? That affects your run.
Yeah, that's amazing. Hey, Kate, is Invade the Man Cave still out there and available?
It is. Invade the Man Cave is just going through yet another edition, and Invade the Man Cave is all those cool things that you don't know about sports, like how the Kentucky Derby started, or, you know, some of the players to watch coming up in college hoop, or what's happening on the ice, and the Holy Grail, Lord Stanley, and some funny stories and that kind of thing.
Yeah. So how can we get it? Is it Amazon or is it?
Yeah, it's on Amazon.
Cool. And where are we going to learn more about you?
You can go to KateDelaneySpeaker.com.
KateDelaneySpeaker.com?
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful, beautiful. You're going to have such a wonderful day today. How far away is the bathroom from where you're sitting at any given moment?
It's about 3 rulers away.
Okay, you can make it. You can make it before the commercial's over. Kate Delaney, thanks so much for spending some time with us. We appreciate it.
Love it. Thanks for having me on.
Have a wonderful day.
You too.
It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS, 101.1 FM and AM 1160.